1964, which has become known as one of the great Olympics of the 20th century. They're hosting the Olympics in 2020. Let me tell you what they have in store for you in the opening ceremony. A man-made meteor shower. I had a colleague forward me the article today.
We're talking about their new hologram sciences.
No. Nope.
What's with the hologram science?
Well,
you heard about that?
I'm sure that that's running along swimmingly. But that's not what
man-made meteor shower.
Here's what they're doing. They're launching a satellite type device, an orbital mechanism that has a payload. It has a payload of specialized firework display pellets.
Oh my God, man.
Over 1,000 of these pellets make up the payload. Now, each of these pellets, now you may say, a pellet? Each of these pellets cost about $9,000. There will be over 1,000 of these pellets in the payload, and these, when they are ignited or activated or whatever they do, the display mimics an actual meteor shower. And this will be part of the opening ceremonies of the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo.
Man, that's going to be something.
So, if you don't think that they have a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah.
I mean, why not just have Rodan fly down and buzz the stadium?
Well, did you see that video on YouTube where they produced a hologram of a dinosaur in the bay?
Well, holograms are now officially at a Star Trek level.
I mean, it was ridiculous. I couldn't believe my eyes what I was seeing. I mean, it was like you could tell it was a hologram, but where they're at now with the sheer size of this thing, I mean, it looked like something out of that movie Pacific Rim.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, if you ever want to do a kind of a social science experiment, you know what you do? You have Godzilla coming up out of Tokyo Bay, whipping his tail around.
Oh, that'll get him stirred up for sure.
And you just kind of
that'll get him stirred up for sure.
Just kind of read the meter on that one.
It's funny because in the Lost World, I actually was watching that today, Jurassic Park: The Last World.
Yeah.
How when the T-Rex gets off the ship at the end and it's the Americans running from the T-Rex down the street. That cracks me up.
Instead of Japanese.
And they're looking behind them. Oh my God! And here it comes, snatching people up. That was classic, man. Another great film.
Yeah, but yes, the holography is like I said. I mean, it's at a Star Trek level, so you know. But I knew everybody would kind of be tickled by this man-made meteor shower, which is that's how they're billing it. That's how they're promoting it. They're calling it a man-made meteor shower.
Man, that's a trip.
So,
that's an expensive display.
Well, yeah, I mean, I talked about the price of the pellets, but the idea of launching this and getting this thing up in orbit.
I know, man.
So, I mean, they're pulling out all the stops here. And so, they're not only showing their technological prowess, but they're showing a financial muscle here. And of course, I mean, we understand, right? I mean, you're hosting the Olympics, so you have to show off for the world. Absolutely. And it's probably hokey, but I watch the Olympics when it comes around because of what it symbolizes.
Mm-hmm.
And as hokey as it is, I actually believe in the spirit of what it symbolizes.
So do I.
I just do. Yeah. Everybody from their own country competes. And everybody wants to win. Now don't have any illusions. It's about winning medals. Right? If it wasn't, they wouldn't give them out. But the world comes together for 2 weeks. And we simply say, hey, my guy is faster than your guy. Or my guy jumps higher than your guy. Or my guy is a faster swimmer than your guy. Or this or that. And that's all we're saying. You better believe. I want to see LeBron James take some guy from Russia and put him on his back while he slam dunks from midcourt. You think I don't want to see that?
Hey, do you know if Bong Boy's going to be swimming this year?
Is he eligible?
Yeah, I don't know. Is he?
I don't know. You got you got to take these tests now.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I guess we're going to see. Did they strip him from medals?
I don't know. I know they took everything away from Steffi Graf.
They took everything away from Steffi Graf?
They took, because they said she shot up everything except gunpowder.
Oh my God, man. And how many years, going back how many years?
I don't know, but they stripped it. They just took her. They said, you can't even play, Xbox tennis.
And Michael, what's his name again?
Michael.
Scripe? Michael,
Now who is this?
God, the swimmer.
Oh, yeah.
Phelps.
Phelps.
The bonghead, yeah. That's what I was referring to.
What they catch him doing?
He likes to toke on a little bit of sweet leaf, buddy. He likes the Northern Lights, man. You know what I mean?
Are you serious?
Well, why else? How else are you going to consume 12,000 calories a day, dude? Come on, man. You know what I mean?
Well, he got the deal from Subway, didn't he?
He did, but then, look at what happened with that guy, too. So, everything Phelps touches is just, turn. My thing is he eligible? Because if he is, and I had seen something about him training, so I don't know, man. More and more we begin to see this, though, man. This is coming out, like all these athletes, man. You look at Lance Armstrong and all this shit, man.
But we had some folks in the last Olympics. We had some of those boys and the girls too. We had some swimmers last time. We might not need it.
Right. Well, we're going to see.
We might not need it. So this was this marijuana deal. Come on.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. But, they got these rules, they got these competitive things, and I completely agree with any kind of steroid enhancing, anything like that in anything.
I just don't like the hypocrisy. What I don't like is arbitrarily cherry picking when you care about that.
Yeah, no,
You know what I mean?
Oh, well, someone's, obviously hit 56 home runs, we better check him out.
Yeah.
Like it's impossible.
Nobody cares, and about that baseball thing, listen, let me tell you about that. And I absolutely believe this. Nobody cares except the media. No, nobody cares. No, nobody cares except the media. Because most people like you're a baseball fan and you understand the game too. That's a different thing. You understand the game.
Absolutely.
All right. So that there's no drug that makes you a better hitter.
No, man, hitting is technique.
Yeah. And the only argument that you can reasonably make is that this guy broke the rules.
Yeah, and it's funny because I can tell you right now, a 168-pound man with a proper technique and the velocity of a 98-mile-an-hour fastball can just barely swing the bat and hit it to the grandstands.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible, believe me.
Well, you're describing Hank Aaron.
I mean, you just have a natural swing with the proper timing, and
Aaron
hits on the meat of the bat, man, and it's gone.
Okay.
End of story.
Hank Aaron in his career was never over $170. Okay, I can tell you, I saw him play. He was never over $170. But I'm gonna tell you something else about him. Hank Aaron, and there were others, but I mean, he's a quintessential example. Hank Aaron had the one element that is the difference between a historical, generational, lifetime hitter and just a guy who's pretty good. And here's what it is. And only on Agenda Earth do we get into the mechanics of hitting. It's called bat speed. The speed in which the bat moves through the hitting zone. That is the key. It doesn't matter. If you weigh 250 pounds and have average bat speed, you're going to hit 220. If you weigh 180 pounds and have great bat speed, you're going to hit 310. Bat speed. The speed that the bat moves through the zone. And the reason Hank Aaron had it was because he had quick wrists.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He wasn't buff. He wasn't cut. He had great wrists, great bat speed. I saw Hank Aaron hit balls that I thought were animated.
Oh, I hear you, man.
I thought it was a cartoon. The balls whistled through the air.
Yeah, man, I hear you. The whole steroid argument the whole steroid argument and all that stuff goes out the window long before any of this was even created.
Right.
With the fact that you had a drunk, cigar smoking, stumbling fool. And I hate to put it that way.
That's what
because he's the greatest damn hitter in the history of the sport, if you ask me, in Babe Ruth. Stumble to the plate and just magically do things. Yeah. Pointing. Hey, I'm going to go over here with this one.
Well,
eating hot dogs, man, on his way to the plate.
Walking up to the plate.
You know what I'm saying, dude?
Chewing.
You know what I'm saying? Chewing. But just finished his last beer.
But the proof of drinking beer in the dugout. But the proof of what I'm saying, I'll give you two other examples of what it's about bat speed. Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. Roberto Clemente. They were not big men. They were average sized men. But they had supernatural bat speed. I saw Roberto Clemente never saw a pitch he didn't like. He hit balls that were out of the strike zone, and he hit them 500 feet.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, it's interesting you bring up bat speed because right now the Marlins have an individual that has the highest bat speed in the history of baseball.
And is he a great hitter?
It's unbelievable.
Okay, well then, there you go.
It's unbelievable. When this guy hits the ball, dude, he check swings home runs. That's not a joke. He actually check swinged a home run and was jogging. He thought it was going to be a automatic double or I don't know what the hell he was thinking. He rounded first and he got to second base and said, "What the hell are you doing, man?" And he's like, what? And they're like, it's gone. That thing's gone. And he didn't even know it went out of the park.
Do you realize that it is not unusual? You know how they always talk about a pitcher throwing 90 miles an hour, 92 miles an hour, Nolan Ryan, these guys?
Yeah.
Do you realize that the ball comes off the bat typically at twice the velocity of the pitch?
Oh man, the harder they throw, the farther it goes. That's why I always say, man, I mean, all you really got to do is stick the bat out and have it hit in the right spot.
Yeah.
You know, you get a nice level swing, man.
Yeah.
And it's over with. I remember playing ball at 160 pounds.
Yeah.
Before they came out with, now let me rephrase that. I'm playing softball.
All right.
Because of my injuries, and I'm playing for my father's team, very successful coach here in South Florida. Had to earn my position, right, on the team, and that's just the way he is, man, you know. And this is when they came out with the new style DeMarini trampoline bats.
Yep.
The $300 add 60 yards to your hitting distance.
Right. And
I always, out of old school belief, refused to use those bats, even though they were legal in softball. And we had rules down here in A-League that there's one guy on the team that's allowed to hit the home run. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
A-League softball down here in South Florida, you have a designated home run hitter, and that's whoever is the first man who hits it over the fence. For the rest of the game, he's the only one who's allowed to hit it over the fence.
Right.
It counts as an out if anyone else hits one over the fence. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So, because in A-League, you got 9 players that can hit the ball over the fence, man. You know what I mean? So to make the game a little more interesting, they have that rule. And invariably, man, these guys are hitting. I mean, I'm looking at, and not only that, but my dad had mostly sheriff officers on his team, so he had these huge muscular players. And it was funny to me because the only ones that could hit it out of the park were using these DeMarinis. And that always struck me as funny. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you got to use technology, and I'm using a $22 Easton that I bought at Walmart.
But at Walmart, yeah.
And you're telling me before I walk up to the plate, don't hit it over the fence. You know what I'm saying? At 168 pounds.
Right.
You know what I mean? I always laughed about that, you know, because the odds were I wasn't going to hit 3 or 4 in one game when the 225-pound sheriff with the $300 DeMarini could do it every time. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
but it used to crack me up, man. Ball has changed a lot, man, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has. And, well, because it's all, you know, listen. College baseball, they use aluminum bats. And so in college baseball, well, you know, in college baseball, no lead is safe, literally. But the reality is, like right now on television, you know, they're in the middle of the College World Series. So what happens? This tournament, of course, is a competitive thing. It's a collegiate competitive event, but it's also a television event. And what do people want to see? People want to see guys hitting the ball in the gap. Guys want to see, people want to see guys hitting the ball over the wall, things of that. And so what happens is that the game is kind of engineered to give the public that. People want to see base hits and home runs, and they want to see doubles down the alleys or down the corners. And it's the same reason why, you know, if you even sneeze on a quarterback, they throw 27 flags.
That's right.
Because they want to see touchdowns. They want to see 27-yard pass completions. They want to see, and so there's a theatrical quality to our competitive events because they're televised that dictate how the culture and nature of the game.
Well, not only just that, but I mean, just the sheer flow of the game and I don't know if it's true of baseball, but I'm almost sure it is. But with football,
Mm-hmm.
they get 3 timeouts per half,
Mm-hmm.
and the bottom line is they're also getting television commercial timeouts, and that's
Right.
something that the public's largely unaware of.
Yeah.
You take a TV timeout, they're not playing without you watching. For the most part, you know what I mean?
Listen, folks.
You come back, man, that was a TV timeout.
There is no reason under the sun why any football game, whether it's Mighty Mites at any level, there's no reason why a football game should last 3 hours.
No, man, no. Hey, do you remember? Here's a throwback for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the one game back in the late 70s with no announcers?
Yes.
The one NFL game when they said, well, we're going to try it without...
Well, we're going to, yeah.
Because the public was complaining, too much talking during the game and shit.
Well...
And it didn't go over well.
Well, yeah, it did not go over. But see, here's the thing. 95% of the time, watch sporting events with the volume turned down.
Well, there you go.
If you come to my house and watch a sporting event, 9 times out of 10, the sound is off and I'm playing music. And listen, because I don't need anybody to explain football or baseball. I don't need people to explain these games to me.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay. So I almost get that. I can understand why the public didn't dig it. But I don't watch sporting events with the sound. I don't listen to these announcers. I don't.
No, and you know what though? You know something? Somebody I will miss. I will miss John Madden. I really enjoyed when John Madden covered a game, man.
But that was a different era, and
I just love that guy, man.
That was a different era. But if you watch Mark on an average Saturday, let me tell you something. Because I'm an avid college football fan. On an average Saturday in the fall, there is college football on TV from 12 noon to midnight.
I know.
And so you can imagine what kind of baboons are doing the commentary.
Oh my God.
Okay? And I don't need to hear from these guys.
Oh, I got you, man.
So I can turn up my stereo because Hendrix sounds a lot better than some guy telling me about the completion percentage from some knucklehead quarterback from Maryland.
I hear you. Now, what about the NFL, though?
I do the same thing. I mean, unless Gary Danielson, some of these guys are good. Gary Danielson and a few of these other guys.
Believe it or not, man, I think Troy Aikman's doing a pretty damn good
some of these guys
good job too, man.
But I don't need, I'm not going to say, oh God, I've got to hear from Troy Aikman today.
Yeah. No, and the other thing is besides that, I mean, the one thing I liked about Madden is they're making calls on holding on one side of the field. Madden's going, and let me draw my little circle on this holding over here because they never caught him over here, and this is what led to the touchdown. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you see, you see the guy. You see what happens in football is you got your guy, and what happens is if you score more points than the other guy at the end of the game, you win.
He is a trip, dude.
So I like John Madden because he was okay with getting into the nonsense.
He was totally okay with getting into the nonsense.
Something
else. It was completely contradictory to how he coached, because that man was an animal on the field.
Of course.
I mean, I'm quite sure that he had several physicians that came to him and said, "Let me explain something to you. Well, you're either going on high doses of blood pressure medicine, or you're not going to be living for another 10 years."
Well, Pat Summerall was a competitive player and a fine announcer. Pat Summerall, we'll miss him. Don Meredith.
Yep.
The same thing. And just,
you know what, man? You're making me feel old.
You're not old. No. That's not the right word. It's vintage.
Vintage. I'm gonna go with you on that. I feel vintage right now. And you know what else, man? I gotta tell you something, man. It's tough. It's tough being a Miami Dolphins fan. And you know what, man? You can laugh all you want. I'm
about to start laughing.
I'm sticking with my boys.
Let me tell you something. No, I respect that.
Sooner or later, and hopefully the same people who jumped on the Marlins are going to jump on the Dolphins.
Let me tell you something.
Because we need hard-nosed, hardcore, kick-ass football from these Dolphins, and we haven't had it since 1972 and 73.
Well, I'm saying there was a time, and look, and now I'm not going to give you any sympathy about how bad, because like I don't want to hear anything from you about, having to deal with a bad team.
Well, I got you because I know who you like.
Okay. Because like I wrote that book. Marion Campbell.
Oh God.
So I don't want to hear it. However, I do respect a man who is loyal to his hometown team. And the Dolphins, there was a day when the Dolphins represented old school, hard-nosed AFC football.
Yeah, man. And if you're gonna be in that division, you need to be that.
Playing the Raiders, playing the Chargers, playing the Broncos, playing all of these, all the folks that you probably hate.
Yeah, man, the Patriots.
I'm an NFC guy, and I hate the Patriots.
I can't stand the Jets, man.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
We have rivals, man.
The hatred that you feel for the Jets, I feel for the New Orleans Saints. I feel
I got you
for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I feel for the Carolina Panthers. I feel a deep, abiding, vitriolic, irrevocable hatred for these people.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay? So I get it. And so...
and the funny thing is the Dolphins have recruited straight up killers over the last 5 years. We had Richie, Incognito. This man was known to be the dirtiest football player in the NFL, right next to Ndamukong Suh. These two gentlemen are both. I don't know if he's coming back, but Sue plays for us now. But Richie, this man will waste a hit on somebody that it doesn't even matter, catch a fine and take him out of the game when he could have done it to the quarterback. And it would have at least made a difference.
If you're going to get fined.
You know what I'm saying?
Why not decapitate the quarterback?
Make a difference in the game, dude. You know what I'm saying? Damn, dude, it's still going to be $25,000 any way you slice it, or $10,000, whatever it is. Suspension,
If I had a chance
with Sue. Sue shows up and we're thinking, oh man, we got King Kong now, watch out. And this did nothing last season.
If I had a chance to hit Tom Brady.
Oh God.
He would never forget it.
No, I'm talking about jacking helmets off.
He would never forget it.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Shit. I grew up we're just outside of Pittsburgh, and we played tackle football in the street. And when I talk about hitting people, that's the way we grew up. Jack Lambert dated my two neighbors down, his daughter, and that guy was over the house on the weekends. And we used to hang out with this guy, come out and watch us play tackle football on the street, man. We that was like the thing, man. I grew up on the same block Boom Boom Mancini grew up on, the guy that killed the Chinese guy in the ring, in the 70s when Sugar Ray Leonard was still out there doing his thing. And so, we had all these sports heroes, but it's a totally different time period now, man. The game's totally different. People are totally different. And man, I don't know, man. I enjoy the recruitment of an old school, get the job done, knock the shit out of somebody player for the Miami Dolphins, and it's just few and far between, man. I don't know if it's the heat or if they take up golf and it just desensitizes them to violence. I don't know what the hell's going on down here. You know what I mean?
No, man. I said it on another show.
They just look at Wallace. Wallace, as a receiver in Pittsburgh, did the most incredible things. We get Wallace down here, and this man dropped more passes in one season than he caught. And I'm talking about right on the numbers. I mean, there is no reasoning behind that, Mike Wallace. I could not believe this, man. I mean, it just seems like, and I hate to say it, man, but I feel like we're freaking cursed.
No, it's not that. You know what it is? I mean, all of this, look, we look at what happens on the field.
I say, I sound like? I sound like Randy Quaid in Major League.
Yeah,
at this point.
But look, we focus on what happens on the field, and then secondarily, sometimes we focus on the sideline. But what people have got to understand is that this is about the culture of your organization. It's an organizational issue, and it goes from your owner to your GM and all of that. It's absolutely about that. Okay? And because all of these guys, look, man, all of these guys are drafted. All of these guys are football players. Some are better than others, whatever. That's all relative. But all the cultures of these organizations are not created equal. And it's absolutely about that. So we look at a Seattle. Look at their culture. We look at New England. We despise Belichick, but look at the culture of that organization.
I have immense respect for that man. I don't care if he's been caught cheating and all that shit. I'm telling you right now, I've seen that guy turn players around for the most part.
But that's what it's
just
about.
Absolutely incredible.
That's what
I don't know if they have psychiatrists and psychologists on staff. Whatever they're doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, there's
don't win consecutive championships like that.
I mean, in college,
damn.
Look at Alabama. People don't like Nick Saban, but there's something about the culture of his program. Okay, it's like most things. It's systemic. It's systemic.
Yeah, man.
Here's
the other thing, is even though, like, if you look at the Patriots 2 seasons ago, they were getting their asses whooped, and Brady was crying like a girl, and they somehow turned it around and almost made it to the Super Bowl again, man. I mean, this is the kind of football I got to talk about it because it's the Dolphins, man. This is the kind of football we have the exact reverse philosophy. We get to the point where we say, all right, we won 6, we're done for the year. What is this, man? I don't understand it, man. I mean, I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. I bleed it, dude. I mean, my mother refuses to put something in my hand that I can throw when I'm watching a football game.
Well, I mean,
I will throw it. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I think that there's something in your organization. I think that there's something in your organization. I don't think. What you see on the field, Mark, is a symptom.
I think it's the leadership. I think you're right. I think you're right. It's, general managership and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is if you don't have some burly, scary, I will break my foot off in your ass if you don't execute properly, coach on the sidelines, then you're not winning football games.
I know.
And that we don't have, sir. And that's what needs to happen. I was praying, and it would be impossible, obviously, but I was praying a couple years back that they'd pay Bill Cowher whatever he wanted to get him in. You know what I mean, when he retired from Pittsburgh. But of course, there's no getting him. And really, at this point, the throwback coaches are starting to disappear. That style of coaching it just seems to be on a downswing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't even matter how big you were. I mean, look at Chucky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, sure, he came at the end of a coaching era at Tampa Bay, with Dungy. Dungy built that Super Bowl team that Chucky took him to Super Bowl and won with. But the bottom line is he was still an awesome coach. And the following year, they went back and they did a damn good job. Coaching the Raiders, he did a good job. I mean, you look at it historically, the hard-nosed coaches always get more out of their players.
Those guys,
that's the truth, man.
But those guys could not survive in the media environment that exists now.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. But then here's the thing, though. That's that politically correct filtering bullshit into now into sports. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
You know who I dig? I gotta admire. You know who I love the most during those after game commentaries is Belichick. You watch that man's demeanor, and he's like, I could give a flying.
I don't even know.
Why does
Belichick even do press conferences?
I don't know, but I love watching it though.
Because he's like, and I like that.
He's just going through the motions because he's part of his contract. That's it.
I mean, I just but what I'm saying is that,
Coach, let me ask you a question. What happened right there? He'll go like this. He'll go, well, you saw the play, didn't you?
Well, you saw the play, didn't you?
Next question.
And this guy asked a similar question. The guy asked a similar the guy before you just asked that same question. Let's move on.
Next. Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah, ask the dude standing next to you. He saw it.
Hey, you want to put on a pair of headphones and run? You want to get on the sideline, put on a pair of headphones?
I love this guy, man.
You think you can do what I do? You think you can dance with the devil?
Yeah, it is a trip, dude. It's a trip.
But yeah, I mean, it's but the pressure with look. Let me tell you something. When I was 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, there was a sports talk show on once or twice a week at night. There's sports talk now 24 hours a day, all day on the radio. There's sports blogs, this, blah, 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 ESPN. The pressure to win now is it's at a suffocating level, and these guys, you have to win today. You have to win today. And because, think about it. If you are, think about sports talk radio. You got guys talking sports talk all day, every day. Now, what does that mean, Mark? That means that by lunchtime, they're just talking shit.
Yeah, because you've already heard it 6 times.
Right.
Oh, it's a repeat.
Okay. So that is what you are up against. If you're a coach, if you're an owner, if you're a GM. Okay. And it's a level of scrutiny and examination that didn't exist prior to this.
No, and I honestly believe it's ruining the damn game, because if you take the core essence of what this game represents and you look at the greatest players, what I say is my opinion, but the greatest players that ever played the game in the way I'm going to describe it. You are handed or tossed a football. It is your job to hold on to it and knock anything in your way out of the way and get to that line somehow, no matter what happens. And what we see consistently in both running backs, in receivers, in interceptions from safeties is, let me get out of bounds, let me get out of bounds, let me get out of bounds. And dude, we're not talking about fourth quarter with 2 minutes left. We're talking about, let me get out of bounds. And it's rare when you see a guy that gets the football and understands the most basic concept of the game, which was overpower the man in front of you and run him over like he was not there in the first place.
Let me.
That is lost on football these days.
But let me tell you what. Let me give you the emblematic. Let me give you the nucleus of the problem. A professional athlete or coach, whatever, especially athletes, the basic problem today, it is written into your contract. It is encoded into the fabric of your contract that you have to talk to the media. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever. This, I believe, is ostensibly the problem. Why? Because in doing that, in compelling these guys to talk to the media, you create an instant adversarial situation.
That's right, separatism.
You're saying, as part of your contract, you have to talk to the media. Now, I think maybe you ought to, maybe you should, certainly you could, but to tell a guy that he has to, as a stipulation of maintaining the integrity of his contract, I think this is part of the problem. So if I don't talk to the media, I'm the problem.
Yeah.
You see? And so we have created a set of circumstances that is actually self-defeating. And we don't recognize it because, we want access. We want to hear this guy. We want a quote. We want to hear something. We need something that's going to lead on SportsCenter. You see? So, on the one hand, while we want to see something and hear something that's sexy and exciting, and on the other hand, we turn around and say, man, it's just not like it used to be. Well, you can't have it two ways.
Yeah.
You can't have it two ways. You want 24-hour access, and you want it to be like it's 1975. You can't have it both ways.
Well, me personally, I'd rather see somebody's helmet get knocked 20 feet in the air than hear from them after the game. That's just me. You know what I mean? I grew up watching football the way it was played. I grew up listening to coaches who would grab a face mask of a man that was 2 feet taller than he was and scream at the top of his lungs, and then you would see a noticeable difference in that player's performance. You don't see that these days. You got prima donnas, you got people worried about this and that, my finger, my ankle, my toe, and all this shit. I can remember seeing games where guys had broken fingers and taped up sprained ankles in playoff games and still making it to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
And we also have
broken noses and you name it.
We also have far too many people in the sports industry, whether it's the sports industry directly or the sports media. We have far too many people with far too much clout who never put on a jockstrap.
Oh, that's right. Well, you know what, man? That's indicative of everything we talk about.
Okay.
That's the same thing. The armchair expert.
Yeah, the armchair expert. You say it, I say it. We have so many people weighing in, and they never broke a sweat in competition.
That's right, man. Yeah.
Okay.
They just sound good. They're articulate. And that's why they got the job they got.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I
love seeing somebody go after them. I love to hear.
Yeah.
I think it was Tom Brady who did that one time. I'll tell you what then, why don't you pick up a football and come on out and we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Like when some shit like that, I was like, yeah, man, at least go after it. And I really can't stand him, man. I was a huge Tom Brady fan. Now I love the Dolphins, all that, but I love individual players specifically because of the effort they put forward. And I thought that when he came out and replaced Drew Bledsoe and they won the game, and then he went on to win the Super Bowl that season, and they came out as a team when I believe it was the Rams that were introduced individually. And they said it was, and now the New England Patriots, and they came running out for the Super Bowl as a team. I knew right then the Patriots were going to kick their ass. And I was like, man, this is going to be a good game. And sure enough, they won. But when they played the Giants the first time in the Super Bowl, I was watching pregame, and it had been a couple seasons now. Tom Brady was, doing his thing and doing well. And Eli Manning walked across the field while they were warming up, and he stuck his hand out. And Tom Brady glanced at him like he was some kind of peon and turned around and walked off and didn't shake his hand. Right then, it just burned into my gut that I want to see that man's helmet knocked off his head. and I have prayed for that to happen. And I don't even believe in all that stuff, but I've been like, please, somebody knock this man's helmet 20 feet in the air and give him a concussion. You know what I mean? And it was great to see how the Giants won that game with the face catch, the catch and all that stuff. That was an incredible Super Bowl. When the Giants walked away with that win, I could not believe it. I was rooting for the Giants the whole time. It did not seem like they were going to win. That was, in my opinion, one of the greatest Super Bowls ever played. You know
what?
The famous catch, man. That drive was incredible.
I'm gonna switch gears here. I'm gonna say something that and I love just making screeching the brakes here. I want to say something here that's totally changing gears, totally off topic.
Let's do it.
And but I want to ask you to, and if you don't want to talk about this, we don't have to, and you can edit it out, or da 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 da, and the people will just say, "Why didn't you talk about it?" There's not a lot of details, I know, but is it okay? Can we say something about some aspect of what you and I have talked about off the air about a possible, potential, probable, maybe, hopeful project that we want to do that's kind of like a film project that we're working up? Can we touch that subject? Did I lose you? Hello?
Absolutely, we can discuss that.
Okay, I thought I lost you.
No. I was thinking about this for a second. Now there's two different subject matter that we're talking about.
I love this now because people are like, what are they talking about?
There's two different possibilities on the table right now that you and I have been discussing.
I'm talking about something having to do with Bigfoot.
Okay, so we're talking about the Bigfoot Researchers Journal is what it would be.
Okay, so it's okay to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea. I think that in looking into I don't have trust based on extensive investigation with the mainstream scientists that have been involved in the Bigfoot subject.
You're kidding. I don't know where you got that from.
I got that from a long time of watching. And so in looking for an individual that I felt would be open-minded enough to approach, and it was just sheer luck that you happened to listen to my broadcast on Sasquatch Chronicles. I was a guest when you contacted me.
Right.
So when you contacted me, at first I was struck and I thought, all right, well, maybe this is a setup here, because I don't know this guy. And usually in the past, when an academic would contact me, they were trying to backfire something in my face or, something I said. But it was quite the opposite. So I was intrigued by the fact that you were who you were, first of all. Right. So from the very beginning of the first time that I did your show, in the back of my mind, having already filmed and accomplished what we accomplished, we'd already released The Unavoidable Truth, documenting the species in Myakka in Palm Beach County. I mean, I got footage of one app sitting there pointing at me. You can see its finger point at me as I walk by. We got the juveniles on footage. We got the big males. We got all this footage. Tracks galore, all this stuff going on, interviews. And it suddenly occurred to me that, the one thing that was missing was the academic perspective on all of what we were doing. So it's been in my mind for over a year now, because it's been about a year since we've known each other now, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. And I think that in moving forward with, first of all, the crypto reality mission, which has always been for 5 years now, and I've been saying it publicly, so it's not something you couldn't look up, that we've been trying to recruit academics. We have found the person that we're looking for in you, in Dr. William Lester. And so we want to put together a film project, both for Agenda Earth and for the Bigfoot project that we're working on. The Bigfoot project, you and I both have discussed extensively. Right. We'd love to come up and shoot in Georgia in unfamiliar territory to test our theories on open ground that we've never been in before. Right. I happen to have complete faith in our theories because we've tested them all over the state of Florida, and I've had 3 or 4 other researchers in 3 or 4 other different states test our theories on how to find evidence and where to go and so on, and they've been extremely successful. They're now documenting. They're now traveling back into these areas and repeating the results, which is a telling factor that the information that they're using is actually effective. So in doing that, that's one aspect. The difficulty in the film that I want to produce is that what we want to do with Crypto Reality's new Bigfoot film, the Bigfoot Researchers Journal, or basically The Unavoidable Truth Part 2, the plan was always to have an academic, an open-minded, objective academic, review footage that we've pulled from the field in our research areas through an objective examination of what's on it, and give an honest assessment of what's on the film, coupled with the physical evidence that we have acquired. And it is repetitive. Mm-hmm. I can track the same individuals, the same tracks. I can show you the same individuals on film repeatedly, different individuals, and you'll recognize facial structure, size, and so on. But what we wanted to do was, and this is the film that I always wanted to make, was to then take you with us and travel to universities around the country and review the footage and film the reactions of the other academics and get those reactions on film so that the public can then see exactly whether there's resistance to looking at what's been confirmed by one academic already, and quite possibly we may be able to get confirmation from several others, so that we can then begin to garner more public support for an approach of the national academies to officially fund research. I think that the study is going to be the driving force behind gaining public support. When there's an official study to complement the vast amount of film evidence that we have and imagery, along with the track casts and the tracks and the morphology of the tracks and what we're seeing in the tracks, not to mention the possibility with the DNA that we've collected. We do have scat. We do have scat from the exact areas that we caught them on film. In fact, the same spots that they were standing when we were filming, I've picked up scat immediately following catching them on film. And it did smell like human scat. It didn't smell of any kind of and it is a different type. So in collecting all that evidence, and traveling around and shooting some film in some different areas, testing out theories in the state of Georgia, in the state of Texas, wherever we can go, and then approaching the academic community on camera to show the general public what really is going on here. We have viable evidence here. This is not a guy in a mask. This is not an escaped chimpanzee. We can clearly see that this is an unidentifiable relic hominoid type of bone structure we're seeing here. It's a dream for me to do something like that for the Bigfoot Researchers Journal, the crypto reality side of it. Now, where the film series that we've discussed with Agenda Earth is concerned, that takes on a whole new level of things that I have not been prepared to deal with in my life at any point. And those subjects include the demonology stuff, the paranormal aspects. I mean, this is stuff that's unfamiliar territory for me from an investigative standpoint. While I've experienced it personally with Agenda Earth and shooting films for Agenda Earth and moving it from the not just the podcast series, obviously continuing the talk show with you, but moving it into a pay-per-view event film series is, I think, the ultimate goal. And I think that with a lot of the individuals that your cohorts, I'll say it that way, the people that you deal with in these circles, the demonology circles, the paranormal circles, that, there's a very good chance, based on what you and I talked about, that we can produce films and evidence that would supersede what's been seen before. So I see all of that as a viable, future, production for crypto reality and Agenda Earth. And I know you feel the same way about it. I get very excited about doing that. And of course, we run into those issues. It's always the same issues. You'll either accept funding from outside sources that want complete creative control, at which point you're subject to certain levels of censorship in the information, or you fund the project yourself. And in funding the project ourselves, we retain complete creative control, at which point we now have, obviously, with our YouTube channel and our ability to produce pay-per-view events and live pay-per-view events. I'm talking about being able to take the public with us live on a Bigfoot expedition at times. I'm talking about being able to schedule something with one of the investigators that where we can actually film some type of a paranormal event, whether it would be a simple haunting, not that that's simple, but a basic haunting experience, right up to filming an actual exorcism, which I don't think, to my knowledge, has been done very many times.
Well, not done to the point where it's provided to the public for consumption.
Yeah, and I think that's where the YouTube platform gives us the ability to bring these subjects and the information in real time, to where you can see what's going on here with your own two eyes. And I think it's important for people to know, and I think that people who follow us are very aware of the fact that what we do here is, we have a motto: we find it, we film it, and that's all there is. Take it or leave it. We don't add, we don't exaggerate, we don't edit. There's no CGI, there's no special effects and any of that stuff. I write music for it to accompany whatever it is we film, and that's what you get. You get the truth. So in taking that philosophy into filming with you as a viable team member, an academic, it just is, the prospect is extremely exciting. Melanie have talked about this on several occasions, and we're looking for funding for this. But like I said, that's where the actual rubber meets the road. This is where filmmakers and people who document evidence in these subjects, in this controversially deemed information run into trouble. You're ultimately, in accepting outside contribution, subject to a level of censorship. You are not going to sell a documentary to a mainstream television network that absolutely shows irrefutable proof of the Bigfoot species, or it would have been done over and over and over again already, because I can tell you, if you take the lecture series in the course that the American Institute of Metaphysics is working with me to produce right now, you will find out that finding Bigfoot is the easiest part of what's going to be taught in those courses. It's the latter. It's the latter stuff. It's the presentation of the information. It's the dealing with the fact that you are censored in every possible way in presenting the information. So where we use YouTube and our YouTube channel, they are providing us with a platform through pay-per-view now. We're now able to provide pay-per-view live events. And you can do a Friday night expedition at night, or we can do an expedition where we film, and they don't all have to be live, obviously. We can work on major films, 2-hour films on various subject matter, and promote these things, and begin to make higher quality films with higher quality evidence, with academic credentials involved in it, and really increase not only the credibility of the information that we're presenting, but I honestly believe we can begin to gain momentum and support from the general public to help bring that more serious dialogue, especially where the Bigfoot subject is concerned, because it is so serious. When it's taken at its core value from real field research and the things that you learn, this is not a joking matter. No. So yeah, I hope I've elaborated at least enough to convey, what we're thinking about. Did you want to add anything to any of that?
Well, no, I just wanted to, I wanted the subject to be broached, on the show, so that the people who have become fans of the program are now aware that these things are in the offing, that that this is something that we are working on, we're working up, we're working toward, and that we want to produce and provide for the listeners, for the fans, for the followers, for the public. And it's very exciting to me, because of how well received Agenda Earth has been. Okay. And I know that these film projects, will be equally well received. And so I just wanted to have it broached on the show so that people were aware that we are, we're talking, these are things that are in the planning stages.
Yeah, man. I mean, what you've seen in the Bigfoot Researchers Journal, last night you made some comments in the latter parts of I think it was the shark show we were talking about. I could be wrong, but no, it was a shark show. Yeah. You made some comments about the body of work that we've managed to document. And a lot of it rang true with me, what you said. And I, I received the attacks, and we talked about that. I received several today, and they're ludicrous. I'm staring, right. You're staring at something. I mean, I actually did a breakdown in the film that I just released where you can watch me editing the footage of Melanie sitting. You see Melanie, and I do a Ken Burns zoom shot. 12 feet behind her in the bushes, and there
Ken Burns, the world's greatest documentarian.
And I'm telling you, it zooms in 12 feet behind her, and across the trail watching her is approximately 350 to 400 pound juvenile male Sasquatch. And there were 3 or 4 of them in the bushes that I didn't even cover that I'm working on breakdowns now. The last 2 pieces of footage that we shot were within 12 to 18 feet of about 11 or 12 different Bigfoot, and I'm going to break down every one of them. And in every one of these, you can see them. What we want to do here is we want to be able to take that information to another level. And I think it's important for you to know, if you're listening to this show, that this is something that was originally planned in 2015, and the individual that approached me, it just didn't work out. I'll just put it that way. We see this as a viable way to continue to promote the truth of this subject, and we are going to move forward with this one way or the other. And it's our sincere hopes, and I know you and I have talked about this, where Agenda Earth comes into play and we begin to make films for Agenda Earth, that we remain in creative control of this, because it's of the utmost importance for us to maintain the integrity of the information. You will not ever be presented with a contract that will give you complete creative control for production and distribution on a national television network. There is a status quo of information that produces inevitably a consensus trance in the public's minds that keeps people dumbed down to the facts that you are viewing in the Bigfoot Researchers Journal and in the subject matter that you hear Dr. Lester and I talk about on a weekly basis here. Now, barring the films and all that kind of stuff, the other stuff that we're talking about, this is all coverable in film. But it does take a great deal of funding to produce films like this. So we are looking for it, but at the same time, I think our conversation today, we're willing to take the long haul and work it to death till we can get it to where we can get it on our own.
Without a doubt. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you take somebody else's money, they're going to tell you what you can and cannot do. And that's the long and short of it.
Yeah, and the reasoning behind that is because they're just a production company. They produce the product that inevitably they have to sell. And I've seen the contracts that these networks offer. And these contracts invariably state that they have final say on what ends up on the editing floor. They can cut your interviews. And I can tell you this right now, if you doubt this, go ask Dr. Jeff Meldrum if that's a fact.
Jeff Meldrum?
Because that man's been misquoted. Stanton Friedman's been misquoted in these documentaries. And
all of these people.
Oh, yes. And they will use it. And if you ask me, it's got nothing to do with time constraints in production.
I've seen 30-minute interviews clipped down to 8 seconds.
Yeah, and what they say does not back up any conclusion to support or validate any of the information that they were covering in the first place. It raises more questions without giving answers, which seems to be the goal. And we have a completely different goal.
I've seen the trend. Mark has seen the trend. Well, no, hell, it's not just a trend. We've seen real life examples of people coming to you, because here's what happens, everybody. Let me tell you. People will come to you. People probably with money. And they start talking about what all they want to do. And they start talking about what all they want to do for you. And what you can do and what you can accomplish and what you can produce and everything. And they tell you all that. Okay? I've seen it. Mark has seen it. I've seen it with Mark. And it is almost always, a paper tiger. Because the people who are telling the truth, i.e., the people who actually have money, either want to get you in some kind of maniacal stranglehold where what you're doing, what you were originally doing, is a pale imitation of itself, or they don't tell you anything, and they hit you at the last minute. A string of last-minute provisos.
Yeah.
A string of last-minute caveats. I'm telling you, I've seen it. Mark's seen it. We've seen it together.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to, listen. If you're some kind of crazy philanthropic, whatever, and you want you want to stroke a check, and you say, hey, you guys do whatever, we'll probably sit down and listen to you. But I've never met anybody like that yet. I meet people who make very vague proclamations, and they have very vague, esoteric declarations.
No, man, no. I can tell you right now, I've said this from the beginning, and I stand behind this till whatever happens, happens. This is what I told Melanie in the beginning. I said there's two things that are going to happen. We're either going to provide so much evidence that they're going to try to buy us off, at which point it's going to be a discredit situation. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to have control over the information, or we're going to see this thing through to the end. But either way, if this ship is going to sink, it's going to sink because we decide to make it sink. It's not going to sink because someone else pulled some shit on us. And that's going to stand true, because the truth is out there. The truth is out there, and it's a lot easier to document than you've been told and you've been shown and you've been programmed to think. And we've already proven that. Now, I get idiot comments on a daily basis, and that's exactly what that is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I refuse to argue with what's in our films with anybody. I don't even want to respond to it. I look at it as an attempt to draw me into an argument that essentially doesn't exist. There's no argument. It's right there. You don't see it, get some glasses. That's my point. In the end of the day, though, if this ship sinks, it ain't going to be from lack of us trying, because we work hard. And it's going to be ultimately from a failure for public interest in learning about the truth. Because the bottom line is the ads that support this show, the Bigfoot Research Journal, and the campaigns in crypto reality are very simple. You're not required to make donations. If you'd like to, you can do so. However, watching a simple ad that contributes to the new equipment that we need that's ruined right now this is a necessary part of supporting the research that is bringing the truth about the Bigfoot species, and especially now in developing Agenda Earth, the potential for new films to bring to light new evidence on subjects that have been censored over the last 50 years. And let me assure you, Dr. Lester has a catalog of information that we can cover in film that will blow your minds. So we're working towards it. We're working towards it.
There's no question. I mean, if we had unlimited resources right now today, okay, we could produce material that would change your life. Now, I got to say this too. Those of you who have followed the show, those of you who are regulars on the Agenda Earth Facebook pages, Crypto Reality, those of you who are in and around the activities of Mark and I all the time, you know that the Institute of Metaphysics is underwriting the Sasquatch Reality, the Cryptozoology 101 Sasquatch Reality lecture series, the 5-hour lecture series that Mark is conducting live via Skype. We have spoken about this on several episodes. We have promoted this function on the associated Facebook pages. We have had a number of people inquire about the lecture series. We have had people register and pay their registration fees for the lecture series, etc. So, and we're continuing to promote it. And we encourage you to investigate and register for this lecture series. It is a live lecture series. Although it is 5 hours, you have the option of attending 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. All 5 hours are required to get the certification, but you have the option of 1 hour or 2 hours or what have you.
And also, we will be splitting the 5 hours apart in separate in sections. So it's not going to be a 5 hour course and oh my God, it's the 5th hour kind of thing.
No. I mean, you tell us what you want. So let me lay this out for you, because I don't want any confusion or any misrepresentation. There's a toll-free number. It's 800-965-8504. We have a very short one-page registration form. On that form, you can say, hey, I want 1 hour. Hey, I want 3 hours. Hey, I want all 5 hours. Whatever you choose is what you're going to get. Whatever you choose is what you're going to get. You're going to get marked live through Skype. Skype is free to download. So there's no cost to you over and above the cost for participating in the project. Okay?
No, and again, I can tell you this. If there are any doubts in your mind, all you have to do is log on to Crypto Reality YouTube and watch a few episodes of the Bigfoot Researcher's Journal. You're going to see the results of the information that I will be transmitting to you. In fact, I spend more time showing the results of what we do than actually what we do, for a very, very obvious reasons. But you could see the results. You can visit our Facebook page and you will see very clearly what's in the woods here. I mean, this is not a I can't tell what this is kind of thing. Right. You're going to see real Sasquatch here from the state of Florida.
And in this lecture series, and I cannot stress this enough, you will get information far over and above what you get here on Agenda Earth, what you get on the Crypto Reality, on anything that Mark has published or provided previously. Okay? This is not something where you're just going to get information rehashed. Okay? We set this up expressly to give you the information that's not generally available to the public. Okay? So, if you're interested in this, again, it's a toll-free number, 800-965-8504. You can contact us through Facebook, too, if you want to do it that way. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, especially if you have any questions.
If you have questions.
Either one of us, contact us directly. And again, I want to stress this as well. There's been a rash of, in the last 2 weeks since we've been advertising this, of how-to videos coming out now suddenly all over the internet. And what I'll tell you to do is go through and look at the results of the research that the individuals that are providing these how-to courses, look at their results and take the time to go visit Crypto Reality and look at our results. Right. And the difference is stark. It's a contrast. It's a contrast. We have a very firm grasp on what's going on here with the Sasquatch species in the state of Florida. A lot of the information, like I said, we're coming at you from a regional standpoint. But the reality of the species is that even wherever it exists in wilderness areas. And the wilderness areas are all going to be comparable in as far as their behaviors and their need to do what they do. So we're going to cover all of that stuff. You're going to get real-time information, real-time information that you can apply in real-time situations in the field.
Right.
So that's really where the value comes in.
And there's no, and let me tell you this. I mean, we need to get down and real with this too. Listen, we're not trying to talk you into some information that you can get somewhere else for free, because that happens a lot in a lot of these fields. It does. This happens a lot in a lot of these fields. Things, people can package things up a certain way, right? And they can present it a certain way that looks amazing. But ultimately, it's stuff that you could get for free. That's not what's happening here.
No, I can tell you to that extent that's one of the reasons why I'm not invited to conventions.
Right.
Because the information that I provide, 95% of it is contradictory to what you hear in these conventions across the country about this subject.
Right. So, if you have access to something or some information in which you have some interest that you can't get anywhere else, you can't Google this. There's no planet on which that is free. And I want to speak to that because I know that there's a certain kind of sentiment that exists out there among individuals who have interest in many of these fields. Right? I know that. So, I mean, I want to disavow people of some of these misconceptions.
Well, I mean, all we can say to that, to just prove our point, is go ahead and call up Jeff Meldrum.
Yep.
And ask him to come speak at your engagement. And you'll find out exactly what's going on. Exactly.
And he will give you a laundry list that you will not soon forget.
That's right. That's right.
Stanton Friedman. I know. I'm not gonna say it here, but I know what it takes to get Stanton Friedman to come and present his information.
That's right, man.
And I don't blame him.
And well, it's a lifetime of study, and that's what you're looking at here. I mean, you yourself have spent a lifetime researching these subjects. To my knowledge, I told you this today, I've never spoken to another individual with more historically accurate knowledge than you. And there's a lot of value in that. And I think that's, really the driving force behind wanting to take Agenda Earth into a film series,
Oh, absolutely.
We're doing this course, and the course can be an ongoing thing.
Yes.
And obviously it's going to be one of those things where you don't have to feel rushed, but you definitely want to get in on it.
Listen, I've already, and I guess this is like, I'll break this on the show right now. I may very well do a parallel lecture series on demonology for the public in the same format of this Bigfoot lecture. I may why not?
No, it's a great idea, man.
Okay, I mean the interest is there. We have the requisite body of data to present, so I may very well do that. And because I'm certainly going to sit and look and analyze, the progress of this Bigfoot series. And if that goes well, I may very well produce and promote and provide a similar lecture series, a parallel, a sister series on demonology. Because trust me when I tell you, I've got the files already. I've got the data. I've got the information. I've got the anecdotes.
Yeah, and you want to talk about some information that will...
That you will not get. You will not get it. Trust me. You will not get it on Google.
Man.
I will tell you some things.
It's also startling, man. I tell you what, man. If we recorded the first phone conversation that we had on that, that would be probably the single best talk show interview that I've ever heard on the subject. But
a lot of people like the werewolf show.
I still kick myself in the ass for not recording that.
A lot of people enjoyed the werewolf show. A lot of people enjoyed the Girl in the Graveyard vampire show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's nothing. I'm like Dustin Hoffman in Wag the Dog. That's nothing. That's just information that I thought would serve Agenda Earth. That was because I thought it would serve Agenda Earth.
Well, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I really do.
So, if you want to see the Institute of Metaphysics and Agenda Earth produce a demonology lecture series, the likes of which you cannot even begin to wrap your mind around, you dip your toe, you stick your toe in the water with this Bigfoot lecture series. Because, like, you guys like the show, and you like Mark, and you like crypto reality, but you have no idea of what is coming to you in this program, in this lecture series. So, I wanted to be sure that I properly supported and propped up and promoted this, because I just believe in it, and it's not because, Mark is a friend of mine, Mark is a colleague, we're co-hosts on Agenda Earth, but I believe in this project, and I want people to avail themselves of it, because I don't want people to say, well, I didn't know how to do it. No. Here's your chance. So, again, it's 800-965-8504. If you don't feel like picking up the phone, listen, just contact us. Just, you can contact us through Facebook or what have you. That won't be a problem. But, there's no sense in missing out on this opportunity. And the information that's provided in the lecture series, I can assure you, we're not going to do it on Agenda Earth. That's not going to happen.
No.
That's not going to happen.
No, because I'm getting real. I mean, I'm getting real.
We'll have fun.
It's rare,
we'll have
man.
Fun. Yeah.
It's rare. I present the information a certain way to elicit a prescribed response. I'm trying to generate a response with the way we present the information, and it works. But the bottom line is the behind the scenes stuff and the stuff that you don't know, and the things that happen that nobody knows about, the things that we fail to catch on film, the processing of the information in real time and what it ultimately means in real time, that's the stuff that we're going over in this series. So it's going to be time to get real It's get a notepad. It's get a sharpened pencil and get ready to take some notes, because I can personally guarantee you, if you follow the information in this course, you're going to be educated in a way that is, I believe, credible due to the extensive amount of field research that we've conducted here in Florida and have film evidence to back it up. You won't hear me say something in a lecture or in our journal films that I'm not backing up with film. The other thing is you're going to hear information that's at a gut level, and it's information that you need to know that'll help keep you safe if you intend to go into the field. We're going to do some comparisons in programming, educations on that perspective, personal perspectives, and how they limit your understandings before you ever even go in the field. I mean, there's a lot of information right off the bat in course number 1 that will knock it right out of the ballpark for you. So please, if you're interested in the subject, register for the course. Even if you just want to get your feet wet and try it once, I can guarantee you by the end of that first hour, you will register for the next, if not the rest of them. And the good news is this: you'll always have the reference point of the Bigfoot Researchers Journal and our other films on YouTube to run back to, because you're going to see the actual results of what I'm telling you in the lecture in our films. That's how we got it done.
Not only that, too, on a different kind of level. Those of you who do the 5-hour part of this, you're going to get a real certificate, a sheepskin that is issued to you by the Institute of Metaphysics, that's going to bear the seal of the Institute of Metaphysics, by the way, which carries accreditation by the Metaphysical Studies Accrediting Board. So we've got the maximum weight that we could possibly get on this thing. Because, if you're like me, you like stuff to hang on the wall. Okay? So again, it's 800-965-8504. We'll get you taken care of. I want to say something too. I got a couple of messages today. Of course, we talked about the shark attack show, the Jersey Shore shark attack show, which was predicated on the Historian Almanac show, which was very well received. I got word today from a couple of people. The movie is on Netflix. It's called 12 Days of Terror.
Yeah, I said that last night. Yep.
Yeah, it is on Netflix.
It's an interesting film.
It's a cool little film, and basically it will detail what we talked about.
Now, in addition to that, I wanted to bring this up last night, and then we got sidetracked with something else. There's a story that's true. It involves a man named Vic Hasloff, and he was a noted shark hunter back in the 70s. This is before they put a moratorium on great white shark hunting and killing. Now, Vic used to take reports of rogue sharks, and he was known to be the man to call to eliminate these rogue sharks. Now, he took a report, and I believe it was off the coast of Tasmania or New Zealand. What's the island right north of? It's Tasmania, right?
Yeah.
North of Australia, off the coast of one of these beaches. In a 3-year span, 111 people went missing. 111 people. The last particular swimmer to go missing just happened to be with a companion swimming. And the gentleman was quoted as saying he heard a gasp, and he looked next to him and he saw a giant boil in the water. Didn't see any fins, nothing else, and that was the last time he saw the man. He immediately went to the shoreline, called the paramedics, the police, the appropriate authorities, At which point they finally did something, and they called Vic Hasselhoff. This man spent 3 days fishing off the coast of this same beach and caught the largest white shark on record at that time, and it had the remains of 3 humans inside of it. So what we're looking at is something that compounds the movie Jaws in real life by many dozens of victims. Many dozens of victims. And I just looked it up, and he just happened to have sold the actual shark that did it. That actually, was the rogue itself. And it was a giant, man. It was a giant. This is going way back, 78, 79, somewhere in that realm. But you can look it up online. The story was fascinating and absolutely true, which is disturbing, because this is Mattawan on a whole new level.
Right.
And it did involve a great white, and not only that, but a massive great white. It was, 21 feet long, something like that. But they actually did display the remains, and there were photographs taken that were removed from this actual rogue great white shark, this man-eater.
Wow.
That blew my mind. And that was one of those stories that back in the day when I used to buy those magazines you were talking about.
Right.
It was in one of those magazines, and Vic Hasselhoff was a celebrity back then. He was like he was a Rodney Fox. You know what I mean? Remember Rodney Fox?
Yeah.
The free diver got 412 stitches during that free diving tournament from being attacked by the white shark.
Right.
This was all going on right around that time frame when they were shooting for B-reel footage for the movie Jaws. And they had that underwater team, Ron and Valerie Taylor, were shooting for the film and all that. This was all going on right around then. So another true story to add to that collection of horror from last night.
Yeah. Yes, it's just a remarkable story, a remarkable topic of interest, a remarkable topic of conversation. And, but yeah, so, those of you who are interested in all that, that film is on Netflix. And so, by the time you listen to, Mark and I talk about it on the show, and you listen to the account on the Historian's Almanac, and you watch the movie, I think you should get all you want.
Pretty much, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So, just check it out. I listened to the shark show that we did with each other. I forgot that it was me talking about it. It was so much fun listening.
Oh, it's great, man. It's great. And I'll tell you this right now. We could do 10 more, because I've got more stories, commercial fishing stories, stuff you wouldn't believe. Just you would not believe, man. Just a quick example, snapper fishing. Commercial yellowtail snapper fishing. It's done in a very specific way. And you fish for around a half hour, and each time you chum and you drop a hook in, you catch a little bit larger snapper. The bigger ones finally start to move up the reef towards the boat, and you're chumming them towards the boat. Well, you're also chumming the sharks in. Well, the sharks don't bother with these little 1-pound yellowtail snappers. When you hook a good one that's 2.5 pounds, you know it. And instantaneously, the first one you hook is eaten by a shark. And you know that because you feel suddenly, bam, there's 10 times the weight, your line's being stripped off, and I'm sharked up is what we call it. And as the evening goes on, it's a battle, a 10-hour straight battle, just to get these snapper into the boat without having them bitten in half or having the whole thing taken. And I have personally experienced bull sharks in excess of 10 feet following my bait in, and I'm reeling so fast to keep it away from the shark that they will actually jump out of the water onto the gunnels of the boat, snapping at this fish as I pull it out of the water. We've had them jump into the boat, chasing after it, and we're scrambling, jumping on top of coolers. And, man, how the hell do we're trying to get out of the boat. I got endless stories like this. Crazy stuff that I've experienced at sea. We were talking about the UFO thing. I've got some UFO stories from being at sea at night things that I've seen that just defy explanation, man. Absolutely. So some really good upcoming shows, I think, man.
Oh, without a doubt. So, you know, listen, the great thing about Agenda Earth is that no matter how deep we go into it, it's always the tip of the iceberg, just the tip of the iceberg. So,
yeah,
we're gonna close it out now. So I'm gonna tell everybody, from me to you, I am Dr. William Lester,
and I'm Mark Zaski, your co-host.
And thank you for listening to another installment of Agenda Earth. We'll see you next time.
Have a good night, folks.